Hello everyone. This is video number 1 of several to help you guys fill out your giant worm diagram in case you missed something or in case we went a little too fast when we did it in class. So we're going to start with the external system. So you've got sections for your information, and then you also have a section to label your drawing, and I'm going to be moving back and forth, but of course yours is going to be on one giant sheet. So I usually like to color code my drawings just so I have kind of a way to keep everything straight. So I'm going to start with the external system, in other words, not the interior parts of the worm, but what do we see externally. And the first feature that you're going to be able to see is the anus, and the anus is at the posterior end of the worm. So it's the posterior end of the worm. This is where waste is removed. So as you look at the worm, the posterior end is here. So this is where the anus is located. Okay. And you might be wondering on how you can tell the difference between the front end and the back end of a worm, and we'll get to that in a second. On the flip side is the mouth, and that of course is the anterior end. So on our worm diagram, this is the anterior end, therefore this would be the mouth. Okay. And then our next feature that you can see externally are setae. These are little hairs that act as almost like snow tires or chains if you're going to put chains on your car. They're little hairs that are used for traction. In other words, to help the worm grip and move. And there are 2 per segment. Of course, we're talking about segmented worms. So each segment is going to have 2 setae. Okay. So on my diagram, I don't have time to draw in every single setae. So I'm just going to put a couple of them as you go down the worm. Okay. And then I'll label them. When you feel your worm during actual dissection, they're going to feel like sandpaper. You'll notice there's rough patches, and it'll almost, as you rub your finger on them, feel like scratchy sandpaper. This is one of the reasons why I think wearing gloves is not a good idea, because you can really feel that with just your bare fingers instead of using gloves. But I get it. It's a personal preference. Last on our external system is the clitellum. And this is the way that you can tell the anterior from the posterior end. The clitellum is an elongated bump that is near the anterior end. Okay, so it's an elongated bump near the anterior end. And on the diagram of the worm picture, you can see there's this section here that is smoother and is less segmented, and it kind of has this strange shape. Okay, that is our clitellum. Okay, and it also does show up in one other system, but we'll talk about it again when we get to that second system. So that includes everything externally, so those 4 parts, and then these 4 descriptions. That's all for video number 1.